An alibi is basically evidence that a defendant presents that shows that he couldn't have committed the crime because he was somewhere else when the crime occurred. Now, when we think about alibis, we usually think about witnesses, someone who comes into court and says, look, I was with Billy that night. There's no way he could have done it because he was with me the whole night. And that's certainly one type of alibi. But here at our law firm, we've, over the years, presented all sorts of evidence as alibi evidence. Sometimes we present surveillance video that shows that our client was somewhere else when the crime occurred. Sometimes we present gas receipts, credit card receipts, anything to show transactions that our client was engaged in business or was at some other location. Keep in mind, though, that with regard to witnesses, the most credible alibi witnesses are going to be people who don't have any reason to lie for you. So, for example, if you bring in your mom and your girlfriend to court and they take the stand and they testify, yes, I was with him when the crime occurred, he couldn't have committed it, that may or may not fly with the jury, because a prosecutor, of course, will get up and say, look, these people love him, they do anything to protect him, you can't believe what they're saying. But suppose, for example, that you were in class the night that the crime occurred and you bring in the teacher and you bring in fellow students, people who don't really know you, who don't have any allegiance to you, who have no reason to come to court and lie. Those obviously would be much more credible. Ultimately, however, it's for a jury to decide if they believe your alibi. And if they do believe your alibi, chances are you'll be found not guilty. But the jury certainly has the power and the discretion to reject your alibi and to find you guilty anyhow. Now, as a prosecutor, and I was a DA for 5 years and investigated many cases in which I didn't quite believe alibi witnesses that a defendant would present. And we would almost always go and re-interview those witnesses. And the defendant, for example, might say, I was with these 5 people at someone's house. And I would go with my investigators and we would interview every one of those witnesses. And we would interview them separately and go through every detail of what happened. What did you eat? What did you talk about? What time did the person arrive? When did they leave? Who else was there? We'd go through every detail of their story and we'd look for inconsistencies. And if we found significant inconsistencies among the witnesses, then many times we were able to shoot holes through the alibi and it wouldn't hold up in court. But a good criminal defense lawyer will always investigate the alibi completely before presenting it and knows the most compelling ways to present witnesses or surveillance video or documentary evidence to the court, to the prosecutor, ultimately to the jury, with an eye towards getting his client acquitted. I'm former prosecutor, now criminal defense attorney Neil Schaus. If you've been accused of a crime and you have alibi evidence and you need a criminal defense lawyer to help you present it in the most compelling way, we invite you to contact us here at Schaus Law Group. Let's go over all the evidence. Let's see what we can do to get the charges reduced or dismissed.